Hello, everyone. Welcome back. In this episode here, um, I'll be talking about a little bit to follow up on the money laundering. What a blind, willful money laundering is, and another thing I want to talk about is another blind thing, a blind transaction, or a blind broker or blind dealer. Um, and then this whole idea of just buying and selling money, that concept. Okay, so let's first talk about blind, willful money laundering. Okay, and and the reason I brought this up because as my interest in Bitcoin increased during the time I think when Silk Road was seized, um, or under attack or whatever. It was basically stopped. Um, it turns out that there was another report that a lawyer out in Corpus Christi was laundering money for drug cartels. So, and that kind of made me. So I did an episode on the money laundering. If you haven't seen that, just look back through my previous episodes here. You'll find it. And I kind of looked more into it, and it turns out even if you know, never intended to launder money, but somehow you came across the knowledge of money laundering going on, um, even though you claim your stupidity or your innocence, but yet if there's any evidence that a sign that you turned a blind eye, knowing that you laundered money, um, engaging in from a criminal activity, you can get 20 years. And so, um, look it up, do some research on it, and I think something that maybe people should get to know and get familiar with the laws of money laundering, just to make sure that you're covered, because turning a blind eye does not make you innocent to money laundering charges. So my advice is, if there's something going on, I'll stay away from it. Don't try to get involved in that kind of situation. So, but if you're a legit trader, like I am, and you know what Bitcoin is and how it works, you wouldn't have to do that. You wouldn't have to launder money at all. Uh, Even if you claim, um, stupidity, I guess. I don't know what else to call it. So, um, so I just wanted to bring that up, and there seems to be a lot of ways you can unwillingly or somehow get sucked into money laundering. And if you're not very careful, you can actually go to jail for a long time. So that's why it's always important to use the banking system, because there are you know laws regarding banks that may help you in preventing and getting involved in money laundering. So um, you know a lot of things. For example, the banks can inform you that your activities may be considered money laundering. So once they inform you that, you can't really turn a blind eye anymore. You've got to acknowledge it. If you continue to do it, then it'll be a case against you. 20 years. My goodness, that's a long time. Just for moving the money around, which people do every day, legitimately. So it's kind of weird. You're doing the same thing that people do every day, legitimately, but because of the fact that the profits or the money, the source of the money was come from criminal activity, makes it money laundering. You can get 20 years. That's not really worth it. So I just want to bring that up real quick, and then Another thing I wanna bring up is, uh, after you build relationships with your counterparties, your trading partners, your buyers, your sellers, and also your you know relationship with your mining pools or your suppliers of Bitcoin. Um, Eventually, you get to a point where um, a lot of times you'll do blind transactions. Now, um, it's similar to if you look up blind broker or blind, and maybe you'll be able to find it if you look up blind transactions. Basically, it's you're acting as a broker in a buy and sell order where you don't know who the buyer or the seller is. You just know that there's a buyer and there's a seller. You receive the money and you send the bitcoins, and that's it. That is basically a blind transaction, and where you might come in as a broker or dealer is, you're just facilitating the transaction, okay? And you're probably getting paid for it. You've arranged a buy order at a lower price and a sell order at a higher price, and the difference between the two is where you make your money. So you're transacting it, but the spread, you're making money on the spread and the difference in the price. Um, Another, I guess you'll look it up in the definition, but I guess there's another exception to that rule would be that if you are also the principal, like if you're actually selling out of your own inventory, I guess. So if I was selling my own bitcoins, it's not considered a blind quote unquote transaction, but I guess you're splitting hairs at that point. My point is, after a while, there's some people I've actually met in face-to-face doing a transaction. There's other people I've never met. I only know them by basically a name or account name, if they're a company or something, or a company name, and basically an account number to either wire or deposit money or deposit a check to an account. So basically, I've never met any of these people. And sometimes you can't because they're on the other side of the country or the other side of the world. So I've after you now a lot of them I've actually just either through networking or through localbitcoins.com, and after you do several transactions through the escrow service, depending on how trustworthy they are. When I say trustworthy, I mean they're willing to go along with whatever you want that transaction to be done. So typically what I do in a blind transaction is, and this is why it's blind, although they may have met me, they may not have met me, they are sending either the bitcoins or the funds to me first. It's not where I'm sending them something and waiting for them. I'm actually acting as an escrow and a broker. And I may have an actual buyer or seller on the other side. I may actually have another counterparty, or I may be the counterparty. So, but in any case, it's blind because not only have we never, the two parties have never met. There's also a chance that there's the two parties, and I could be the opposite party as well, where we're just basically transacting without ever knowing if anything's really going to go through. So that's pretty much blind. But once you become a trusted player in this game, you can easily find somebody who, once they know that you'll come through and you're a trusted source for both Bitcoin and US dollars, doing blind transactions will, it's not a big deal, especially after a few deals and large deals that come through. Something like that happening shouldn't be a problem at all. So now that I'm doing blind transactions, and who knows what's going on the other side. I really kind of don't know, but that's not my my job to find out. That's why I use the banking system. So if there's anything funny going on, the banking system is regulated, okay? And my involvement is, as far as whatever I buy and sell, is just my involvement as a trade, either as facilitating the trade, or acting as a buyer and seller, or finding a counterparty, two counterparties, whatever, however it works. So, as long as you work through the banking system, I think you'll be okay, because the banking system itself will have its own rules to follow. So, anyways, so that's another thing you can do once you develop good trading partners, buyers and sellers, suppliers. Once you make a market for yourself, it's not that hard to get orders, buying and selling. Literally just buying a buy order and a sell order. And if you do it right, usually you want to do it where you're buying at a low price and then you're selling at a high price. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, the thing about Bitcoin is that it's the transport, the delivery of Bitcoin. You can instantaneously buy low in one market and then sell high in another market. As soon as you buy, you can instantaneously sell at a higher price. In that transaction, you are literally just making money. And so you can do the opposite. You can actually sell at a high market, or at a high price, and then instantaneously buy from a different market at a lower price. So either or, you could sell at a high price, buy at a lower price, or you could buy a lower price and then end up selling at a high price. Either way you go, the concept is that you're making either more money or more Bitcoins to do that. So, and the fact that this trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, globally, it wouldn't be it's not unusual to get orders coming in all the time. Sometimes it dries up, I mean, there's sometimes in real world activity there's just nothing going on. But my point is, you're basically doing the same thing like you would on your whatever exchange you're at. You got US dollars, you got Bitcoin, or Bitcoin US dollars, and you're buying and selling with basically people you've never known. Basically, it's the exchange is by definition a blind transaction. You don't never ever meet anybody or know anybody on the other side of the trade, and vice versa, right? So what I've done is, instead of having this be an only done by a electronic market through the internet, through the computer, I can never really take my Bitcoins, bring them into reality. I guess you can. Some people actually make coins with the private keys on them and all that. So I guess you could. I don't know why you would do that. That would negate the whole utility of Bitcoin. But what you can do is that electronic cash money. Well, you can trade that in real life too. And what's nice is if you can do that both hard cash and electronic. The only difference is, instead of having that electronic number on your exchange account, you can have that electronic number go into your bank account in the real world. So you don't really have to have the physical part, because after all, we've the banking systems come to the point where we have credit cards, debit cards, so it's all electronic anyway. So having like a check, personal check, cashier's check, as long as it clears the banks, I mean, it doesn't really matter. So when you work outside of outside in the real world, um, you can get real hard cash for your bitcoins that you can take it from your exchange or take from your wallet and just send it to someone else. So this is where blind transactions really come in, is using your banking system. And for me, I have both cash, US dollars, and Bitcoin. So I can go either way at any time, and I'm flexible. So that's why I'm literally always buying and selling. As soon as I have a buyer, I instantly have a seller. As soon as I have a seller, I instantly have a buyer. And that's the great thing about Bitcoin, is that you can instantly find another counterparty to take the other part of the trade. And so that's one way where you can definitely gain in Bitcoins or US dollars, depends on what you want to do. So that's last thing I wanted to talk about, and why I'm always buying and selling. The reason I'm always buying and selling is literally I am buying Bitcoin in one market at a lower price and then selling Bitcoin at a higher price at a different market instantaneously. So in that regard, I'm literally taking little to no risk. So in this concept, I'm selling into risk versus buying into risk. So when you buy your Bitcoins and you're trading, you bought into risk. Since I'm long Bitcoin, I've already bought in. Okay, so I'm pretty committed in that way. When I trade, the only time I'm at risk is when I sell out. So I'm selling out of risk, or I'm buying into risk. And either way, I guess. But most of the time, I'm selling out of risk, or I'm selling into risk. And then when I buy, I'm buying out of risk, if that makes sense. So when I buy, I'm out of risk because I'm already long in Bitcoins. But when I sell my Bitcoins, I'm selling into risk because I'm out one Bitcoin. I got to replace it, and hopefully I'll replace it with a cheaper Bitcoin that I bought. But the problem is the index is still moving around while I'm looking for the buyer. But because it's a Bitcoin, hopefully I can instantly find a buyer. At the same time, I can instantly find a seller, allowing me to take advantage of the price difference. And that's where I get my Bitcoins. So the concept is, I'm not a computer nerd or geek in any way, but I understand, how money works. I know how to bring things to market, and I know how to network. Okay, and so the way, if you think about it, I mine Bitcoins, but I mine Bitcoins not through a processor or a computer. I mine Bitcoins in the real world, and my tool is not a processor, computer, or anything like that. My tools that I use to mine Bitcoins is money. I use money to mine for Bitcoins. So when I transact, I make sure there's enough difference in the transaction where I'm rewarded by either US dollars or Bitcoin, but I'm going Bitcoin. So I'm rewarded with a Bitcoin, just like a miner would when their servers are being used to transact or put a block into the blockchain. And they're rewarded with new Bitcoins. What I'm rewarded with is existing Bitcoins. So I'm mining for existing Bitcoins out in the market. And the way I gain my Bitcoins is, is simply just transacting. All I have to do is just transact and put, that price out there, advertise that price out there to the whole world. And somebody somebody will buy and somebody will sell it. Somebody will buy at that price and somebody will sell me at that price, whatever that price is. Again, usually I buy at a low price and sell at a high price. So I guess that concludes this episode. And before I go, I want to show you give you a chart here. So I've been saying that this is gonna it looks like a downtrend. It's probably gonna hit. I knew it was gonna go down, so I did advise everyone if they're in it for the U.S. dollars to go ahead and sell up at any point around here, up on the top where the resistance was, and there finally it gave in, and that was this big red thing here. That was a 600 Bitcoin sell, and it broke through I think a 200 Bitcoin purchase order. It broke through it, and so yeah, that's a big move to the downside. So as you see, it's breaking here, and it's going through that, like I said, that sideways support. So if it does stop here, they may just make a slight bounce up, maybe one more time test this resistance, but if it passes down this support here, it's most likely going to go, let me see here, 2 hours here, okay, 4 hours, alright. So most likely if it breaks through here, and even the average has turned over on 4 hour here, and if it breaks here, I mean, look for where I mentioned either this as a support or the nearest low as a support. Other than that, I mean, you're looking at it'll bounce around here for a few supports, but it's so close together that it's actually just one support, and then maybe right here being the next one. I think I've already discussed this, so you're actually seeing the turnover. And then another thing here is I believe I showed you this. Now you got all these areas here. You got the two majors already below the 30-day. Mt. Gox still has a ways to go for their 30-day, but they may slowly follow suit. So this is Mt. Gox, this is Mt. Gox. If US dollar goes into red, these probably will go into red. And this is, well, look at that. That's actually local Bitcoins, and I don't know how true that is, that their sell prices in 10, 12, I don't know. It seems kind of high, but there it is right there for local Bitcoins, and also in the British pound. But if I pull back, I mean, you're seeing a lot of red, and these are the top by volume. And if I just scroll down, you're going to see a lot more, eventually, a lot of red here coming through. The green ones, they're just barely staying above their 30-day. But if you just look at the top portion, I mean, really, you got to look at the top 3 in US dollars, really. And Mt. Gox it's going to get there. So anyway, so I mentioned to you in the previous episodes about this, and hopefully you're using these tools to help you make a better trade. But let's look at some of the averages here. This is Bitsy, and you can see it's just a downtrend, and this is a 5 hour. So I pulled back a little bit to the 5 hour to get a better view, and this is Bitstamp, and it's just really going down. But as you notice, Bitsy was always slowly trending down. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion. And this is Mt. Gox. And yep, there you go. Get some more. Ooh, looks like it's down to 915, 918. So you can see it. You can see it move now. Now you can start seeing it move. So there you go. 918. So or 917. So well, hopefully this helped you. And next episode I'll try to get into more of exactly what I'm doing. What am I doing to make money or bitcoins? How am I generating my wealth? And so I'm leaving you with a lot of clues. Uh, I don't want to just out. Sometimes, when you want to look for something, when you want to find the answer will come to you. Often, when people come to me or people ask me what I do, I really thought about what should I say what I do. And the simplest, quickest way to answer someone's question on that, I don't say I sell Bitcoin or I trade cryptocurrencies. I tell people I literally buy and sell money. And their second question after I say that is, how do you do that? How do you buy and sell money? And my second answer to that is, well, I buy money for $100 and then I sell it for 110. And after that, some of them just they have to think about it for a while. But anyways, that's more or less what I'm doing. You could say I buy and sell Bitcoins, but see, I'm long Bitcoin, so I'm using Bitcoin as a way to buy and sell money. Buy money at $100, sell the money at 110. So it depends how you look at it. If you're long US dollars, well, you're buying and selling Bitcoin. If you're long Bitcoin, you're buying and selling US dollars. It's kind of weird to think about that since you have all this money in your hand and you're thinking, well, if I could buy $100 and sell it for 110, I'd do it all the time. Well, I'm doing it all the time. So there's no reason why you couldn't do it all the time as well. Think of it this way. If you've seen my episodes, I've explained early in 1, 2, and 3, Bitcoin trade 1, 2, and 3, that why would I take? I used to take a commodity product and exchange it for U.S. dollars. That's before Bitcoin came around, and I kind of explained that transporting physical commodity takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy in petrochemical energy. I'm just trying to give you an example. Like, let me see. I don't have it. So Bitcoin is no different than if I took. Well, let's just give an example. I took this nice Samsung Galaxy and I sold it to someone. So I bought this Samsung Galaxy. Let's say market price, whatever it was, like $300. Okay, I bought it for $300, whatever. And then I sold it to someone for 400. There's no difference from what I did with this than what I did with the Bitcoin. The only difference is this is a physical, this is physical, right? So if someone ordered 100 of these, I would have to somehow pay extra money in physically moving this. So that's the challenge of a physical, real-world item. And Bitcoin, it's digital. It'll always be digital. I don't know why some people are trying to make coins out of them. They're wasting their time, but I guess, well, maybe not. But since this is digital, you can take 1, 2, 10, 100 of this and literally deliver this around the world. And it goes pretty quick, but confirmed and everything takes about 15-20 minutes. So that's not bad. That's really good. And again, if you're doing this all over the world and people are buying at your low price and people are actually I'm sorry, people are buying at your high price and people are selling to you at your low price. I mean, this is just, you could just do this all day, all night. Bitcoin will generate wealth for you if you understand what it is and how it works. So, anyways, I'll just conclude this episode with that, and I'll try to get into more of how I'm doing it and what I'm doing. So, it's bear with me. When I tell people everything at once, what I do, they get lost somewhere. If you're lost at any point in time, go back to some of these other episodes. Watch them again. Watch them like 100 times, because when I'm trying to leave you clues, hidden messages in some of my episodes into how you can do this, how you can trade, and how you can find out what Bitcoin is and how it works and how it's going to generate wealth for you. I've already said it like a million straight out. It's it's going to go infinity, and I've told you why, because they're going to print money, and they print money to infinity. The value of Bitcoins comes from money. Put 1 + 1 is 2, right? So, anyways, let me cut out here, and thank you for watching. Feel free to comment, like, dislike, leave a video response if you want, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye now.